Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to comment and subscribe.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Like always, thank you. If you're a new listener, thank you for joining me. If you're an old returning listener, thank you again. I really, really appreciate you joining in and listening and supporting me. I'm truly, truly grateful. Um, Today, well, before I do that, my name is Gina. I'm a psychic PRN. I do mental health education videos as well as self-improvement. Today's video is going to focus on something a little different. I'm naming it the psychology of immigration. As an immigrant myself, and hopefully some of you tuning in today might be or know someone who's an immigrant. How does immigration impact our mental health, right? We don't really sometimes think about it, how distressing and stressful the transition period can be, the transitioning can be in general. And whether you're documented or undocumented, all of the complexities that come with it can be so traumatic sometimes, a lot of times, depending on age and depending on also the group of people that you meet here, the people that you connect with when you get into the diaspora. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is changing socioeconomic status. I know a lot of people that back home, wherever they come from, they were well-to-do. I know a couple people who back home, they were lawyers, they were doctors. When they come here, it's like a downgrade. They can't practice like they used to practice because one, maybe they need to go back to school to research. They might need to take their boards again. I know nurses as well who have come here, cannot practice, and they have to really go down lower the academic ladder in order to make income because they're here. You got to survive and there are bills. But that changed, that downgrade. You know, I know people who are like big pastors with huge following back home, and they come here and it's just going to be like cricket. The transition, the acclimation to the culture here can be so different, and it can be shocking. And that's what we call culture shock. So changing the socioeconomic status can be really big, especially when you migrate here as a family, let's say husband and wife with kids. Sometimes the women, as women, sometimes we're a little more flexible. Like let's say you come here and, you know, let's say as a woman, maybe you have a higher socioeconomic status in your country and you have no choice than to maybe take a lower paying job or work at a place where you wouldn't otherwise do when you are back home. As a woman, somehow I think we don't have so much of an ego in the way. We just kind of have to survive and go through it because you have kids to take care of, so you do it anyway. But as men, sometimes it's not as easy. That downgrade can affect their egos a lot and can also in turn affect their mental health in terms of depression, anxiety. The trauma can hugely impact their sleep cycle, then hence impacting their mood overall on a day-to-day basis. And if they don't have a strong base here, it's easy for them to, you know, if they're younger, maybe join groups that might not be too great for them, or join groups that might be using substances and stuff like that, and then you end up, you know, not well a lot of times, especially if addiction becomes an issue, or, you know, even legal issues becomes involved. So it's really important with that whole, as I'll talk about that later, when you're migrating, who the connections that you form when you get here is so crucial in order to adjust to environment with a little bit of ease than otherwise. Secondly, is to find the right jobs. You know, like I'm saying, sometimes you just make do whatever you need to do because you're desperate, you need to make money. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure from back home. If you're here, you have family back home that you need to support. For some of us, that's our story, but that's for real. And I'm sure there's so many other people, whether you're from back in Africa, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Mexico, wherever you are coming from, and you are migrating here, Colombia, name it. There's sometimes a lot of time family back home that you left to come here, whether it's your siblings, your parents, your children, your husband, your wife that you left behind there there's that pressure to just take on anything so you can survive and make some income and send home. Next thing you know, 5 years, 10 years has passed by and you're not able to go back to do what you need to do in order for you to even better yourself, so that as you better yourself, especially educationally, you can make more income and be able to help. So those are things that are very critical, to find the right job, talking to the right people. Don't hide. Even if you have issues with status, there's always somebody. Join a church family. You can talk to the family, jump up from there, and then find good support so your outcome is a little better, a little easier than otherwise. Thirdly is inability to provide. Like I said, I've mentioned this already. So you just jump on any job to provide, whether it's for your family here or back home, there's that pressure. So that inability to provide can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of sadness. It's very traumatizing. Myself, having experienced some of that in the early years when I first came here, I've been here for quite a number of years now. So things have maybe a little bit eased, but initially the first year or two, or I would say the first 5 years, in terms of being able to provide for myself and also look at other aspects of who I need to support, was really huge, and I would say difficult transition, because at that point I really didn't have anyone. So that's why some of this stuff I do, in order for anybody out there who's listening to me and want to reach out, who have a question, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed, don't hide, don't be lonely, sad, crying, fearful all the time. There's always a way. But connect with the right people, because sometimes we connect the wrong people here, especially people who have been here a long time. When you come new, people want to just pull you down, make you feel like, oh, we've been here a long time. We've been here before you. How dare you have all these dreams? How dare you think you can do X, Y, and Z? And they can really be discouraging. So really finding the right click, the right group of people to connect with is so important. Inability to be able to survive in order to provide, because you have to survive first in order to have that extra to provide. Family conflict is another one to look at that can impact mental health. Husband and wife has migrated here. Culture is different, trying to acclimate the kids. Maybe they're just now trying to fit into the culture. The kids sometimes can be hard. Bullying can be very real for immigrant kids to go through in school and trying to adjust to the culture here. Peer pressure is so huge. I mean, this topic is so dear to my heart. I've been waiting for so long to do it. So as you can tell, I'm so passionate about it. And because like I said, for myself, when I came, I also did not have that support, but I was here to educate myself, to learn. And I really have tried to stay within my ideal of why I came here in the first place, to live in the diaspora, to learn, to be able to impart that knowledge back home. But that process can be a little tricky if you're not connected to the right people. Need to hide is another one that I'll say, because of culture shock. Family back home thinking that you're being ungrateful if you complain, because sometimes when you are here, they think, oh, when you are here, everything is like smooth sailing. You're here. Why you already, in America, so to speak. What are you worried about? So that feeling like if you even complain or say you're struggling or say this and that, they might not have empathy towards you, because it's harder back home to many people than being here. So finding the right outlet to find support is really important. Find the right outlets, whether it's pastoral support, like I always say, find a church community. When you're going through such a transition that can be traumatic, really having a community is important. Whether it's one or two people that you call your community, or a whole bunch of people that are positive and supportive, you have an environment of growth, that's crucial to help you thrive, not survive, but rather thrive. What else? Having a safe space where you can really let things out. you can let your mental health to prevent any type of breakdown, psychosis, addiction, a safe place where you can have that dialogue with other people, in order for you to integrate within the system easily. Otherwise, without so much headache. Like I said, there's always a way. If you seek, if you look, if you ask the questions, don't hide, don't be ashamed. Just reach out to the right people. Start the first step. Ask a subtle question, and let's see, when you feel comfortable enough, you can delve into the deeper ones. So sometimes you come here because of the pressure to provide. You might end up working 2 to 3 jobs or so just to survive, because the bills start to pile up. You have to pay for your apartment, your home, for electricity. It's not like back home where, if you have a home, you're not paying for it. There's mortgage, there's car loan, insurance, name it, childcare, all of it. So you have to work 2, 3 jobs sometimes in order to survive and be able to thrive. But in the midst of that, be able to be mindful, so you can also get the growth that you need in order to better yourself. So you're not spending years and later realize that, oh my gosh, it's been 20 years and where am I with my own goals and my vision? Sometimes you come here and because of maybe documentation issues, you might, maybe end up with stuff that, but even if it's that bad, always reach out. That's my mantra. Ask a question, don't hide. Sometimes even for me, myself, it might take me 1 or 2 times to be hesitant, but when you make that move, guess what? There's an answer behind that door, so to speak, that proverbial door. So yeah, as the years pass by, really be mindful to invest in retirement, to save health insurance, life insurance, not just spend your time like really sending money back home and really not doing anything for yourself. And before you know it, you're in your 50s, your 60s, you retire, you go back home, and a year or 2 later, boom, you're gone, you're dead. I know a lot of people that have happened to them. Or after being here 10, 20, 30 years, you start struggling with health issues, medical issues, whatever it is, from just absorbing so much stress. So really taking care of your mental health, making mental health paramount. Don't be ashamed. Find an outlet. If the church community is not a good supportive environment, find a professional outlet. Reach out. There are places here, especially like we're in Connecticut, that you can go for, if you don't have health insurance because you documentation issues, you can just make sliding scale payment. You can still talk to someone. They can guide you. They can support you, even in your immigration process. So don't hide. If you're hearing my voice today, my takeaway is please do not hide. Seek help. There's answers. So I'm going to close today to say once again, if you whip it in your mind, you can whip it everywhere else in your life. Reach out for help. Talk about it. Ask the questions, and try to lean in and be flexible and pivot. So thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to me. I hope I wasn't blabbing on too much. If you have any questions, any concerns, please drop in down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button, so anytime I upload a video, you'll be notified of it. And let me know if any other topics that you want me to focus on. Thank you so much. And I am so forever grateful for you tuning in. And thank you for your support. Catch you later on another video.
Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to comment and subscribe.